The ideal sponge life is a light novel about Senjiro, an office worker that gets transported to another world in which he's promised a life of luxury and relaxation in exchange for leaving his own world behind and marrying the beautiful queen of the kingdom that summoned him. It seems incredibly self-indulgent, I know, but in a way that is kind of what makes the series ironic. Yes, he does still get to marry and sleep with the beautiful queen, as well as have a loving and healthy relationship with her, but the illusion of a sponge life gets further and further away from him the more the series goes on, as more and more issues and political conspiracies make their way into the life of him and his wife, Queen Aura. The best aspect of this light novel is its concern for realistic developments. Even though the series is heavy with political issues and conspiracies, the author very deliberately tries to keep those plot developments from being overtly glamorized. Like, say a big political conspiracy is introduced in one of the volumes and Senjiro is caught right in the middle of it. Chances are he won't cleverly maneuver around his opponents and absolutely destroy them through mind games. Instead, it's more likely that he might manage to come up with a convenient solution that will get him and his cohorts through the situation without damaging their reputation or spiraling the kingdom into chaos. For example, Senjiro finds out a kingdom he's visiting is plotting something that will cause trouble for him, so he becomes convinced he has to find a way to completely dismantle their plan. He starts racking his brain over this. How is he going to beat these masters of political maneuvering? How is he going to cleverly dismantle their plan? Then someone is just like, well, you don't gotta. You just gotta make these two things happen and we're good. There's really no need to involve yourself in this crazy conspiracy right now. And then he's just like, oh, shit, yeah, you're right. It's an interesting take on this premise because these kingdom-building political strategy light novels tend to be about very clever protagonists managing to usurp entire kingdoms or win entire wars through their big brain strategies. But in Ideal Sponge of Life, Senjiro's objective most of the time is to not fuck up massively and maybe pull through with a good negotiation here and there. Now, that in and of itself might be underwhelming. This regular dude stuck with clever politicians that constantly try to drag him into their political warfare might be amusing at first, but could quickly get pretty tiring. Thankfully, the author balances things out by also constantly including an outside perspective that summarizes how incredible Senjiro actually is. Like, yeah, he only managed to negotiate this much, but he realized pushing for more might have resulted in this, and this happening, so stopping right there was the best choice overall. Or yeah, he had to ridicule himself in front of these people, but in doing so managed to stop them from pushing him to do this, and this other thing. By adding these outside perspectives, we managed to see that what the dude is doing is still pretty impressive. It's just a little more subdued because of his lack of political experience. It's not like he's constantly falling and stumbling either. He does manage to do some actually amazing things with the help of his wife. I mean, she's the queen. It stands to reason that she's really good at the whole politics thing. It's fun to watch the two of them work things out. Senjiro has an idea, he tells Aura, she's like, it could work, but maybe try and do this as well. And then he's like, okay, and then it works. A big aspect of the series is just watching the two of them sit there and brainstorm ideas. It's more fun than you might imagine. I mentioned Aura being really good at politics, so of course it stands to reason she also gets a lot of time in the spotlight. Often when Senjiro is facing off against a really strong political opponent, his ultimate goal is really just to figure out a way to get Aura to the negotiating table as well so she can do all the tricky political maneuvering. And I know that seems a little degrading for his character, but we do see things balance out when he helps the kingdom by utilizing his ideas from Earth to help along the various industries they have. Like, one of the first major wins he has is literally just plugging in all the nobles' tax numbers into Microsoft Excel and watching the program do its magic as it reveals all the rampant embezzling that was going on. Excel literally becomes their most powerful political tool right off the bat. It's pretty funny. There's a whole lot of other stuff that's done well too. The world building, the culture of the kingdom he's in, the perspectives of the people there, the ecology of the place, even the weather. It's no exaggeration to say that the author is very thorough. You're not going to get a dense and creative description of every little thing, but there's also not going to be any noticeable missing pieces to the story and the world. Ultimately, the Ideal Sponge of Life's biggest strength is that there's always a logical line you can follow, whether it be the characters, the world building, or the plot. There's always a timeline that can be followed. How did we get here? Why does this matter? What does this imply? The series always makes sure we know the answers to these questions, which means none of it ever feels like it's just happening for the sake of suspense or drama. It's never happening for the sake of the spectacle. It grounds the whole thing, which is pretty hard to do, especially when we're talking about a fantasy series about a dude getting to marry a hot queen from another world. I recommend this if you like, of course, the kingdom politic light novels. I also recommend this if you've tried those and like them to an extent, but maybe just weren't digging the whole crazy crazy big brain strategy the protagonist managed to magically pull off, you know? I also think you might like this if you like it when stories are structured properly just in general, when they always follow a logical line of thinking. Recommended if you've always dreamt of marrying a 7-figure breadwinning wife that loves you unconditionally.